Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on some more Project F stuff. We have the Supercharger off again. So last time I worked on this, I did some porting on it. I ported the inlet to about 75 mil or 76 mil, whatever 3 inches is, as well as the outlet of the Supercharger. Right there you can see I took out the bridge, which opens up a lot of area for it to blow air, as well as took out the corners here. They were coming out a little bit, and what they do is they block some of the airflow. So these are a couple things you can do to improve the efficiency of this Supercharger. But again, I'm going to actually take this apart, take the rotor pack out, and I'm going to do some more porting and have a couple other things I want to talk about for the Supercharger. For one, the bypass valve. We're going to possibly delete it. With how we're gonna, be putting this in the Camaro, it's rear-wheel drive. There's a big bypass valve that sits right here. I've done some research and I've read some people actually deleting it and just holding it shut. There's a couple of drawbacks to that. As far as I can tell, all it does is it makes the Supercharger run a bit hotter. It also runs pretty much all the time. The bypass valve is there to open up when you're like idling or not needing the full boost or anything like that. It'll lower your boost, so it's a bit better for driving. Depending on, what we can do for cooling for Project F, we're going to be using methanol. Might not be an option, might get too hot, but I'm not sure. Just going to do some more research. We are thinking about cutting the Supercharger. This has always been an option, and it has always been, an option in our eyes, but we really don't want to have to do that. We want to make the silicone Cobra head intake work if we can. This guy right here, it's very tight radius. Go on like that. We have an adapter for it. Might not end up being an option just with the limitations of space with the Camaro. Everyone online that does a swap usually cuts out on the passenger side right here, but we want to put it on the driver's side. Definitely with our application, we're going to try to make it work. There's a lot of modification that we can do to make it work, so deleting the bypass valve will be one option, and then also cutting a hole on the side here. We can really relocate some of this stuff anywhere, and we do have access to somebody who can weld aluminum, so we're just going to see. Once we make some more progress with it and fitment and whatnot, we'll see exactly what we need to do. But with deleting the bypass valve, that'll open up some more room, and then we just need to figure out the thermostat housing. We're still looking at using like a 16AN thermostat housing, so mainly what I want to do today is take apart the Supercharger. And as you can see inside here, let me grab my flashlight. You actually see, although I did port the inlet, I didn't go very deep. And there's a lot of old oil and a lot of other stuff on here that we can easily get some gains on, I think. We'll just port it out, smooth some things out. There's just so much in there that can be ported out more that I can see. I might do some more cleanup on the bottom and then clean the whole case because looking at it again, it wasn't perfectly clean. So I'm going to go ahead and start by taking the snout off and getting the rotors in a trash bag so they don't get contaminated with anything. So I'm going to go ahead and start on that now. Alright guys, you can see inside there, looks kind of rough on the bottom. That's where, the material is just cast so poorly. I guess I don't really need the light there. Just cast really badly. I don't know if right there really matters for the flow of the air. Probably does. I'm going to go ahead and clean this out, and then also plug up or at least cover where the bearings are. Just so we're not getting any contaminants in there, so everything spins fine. Otherwise looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and get this covered up and ready to go. I got my air compressor set up. I'm just gonna use some grinding stones and then some sandpaper wheels. First, just on here, this is incredibly rough casting. I have no idea why it's so bad. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough to go all the way back on here, but I might try smoothing it at least with the sanding wheel. I got this all covered up. I have some ripped up pieces of glove covering it, and then I also got the rag in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and start on this side and show you once I have it a bit smoother. Alright guys, well I just used the grinding stone as well as the sanding wheel here, and it actually worked really well. It's super smooth now. That casting was just horrible. Also went in here a little bit and at least on the edges got it sanded down. I do want to tackle this part if possible. I guess it's not super important, maybe up to where the V starts at least. The flow, it would just, I mean, it is so bad, the casting. I'm honestly surprised at how bad it is. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up the case. It's very important to keep it clean throughout the entire process. So once you're done with a portion, go ahead and start cleaning it up. I'm going to be using probably some maybe this glass cleaner. I think the liquid will clump it up a little bit, make it easier to get all in all. Also have a vacuum. Might try vacuuming it first. But then I am definitely going to move to the other side and start working on getting that side ported. Alright guys, the inlet of the Supercharger is just so caked in oil and stuff, so I'm going to take this metal wire brush. I'm just going in and cleaning up everything. Once it's cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and use the grinding stone again, and then use a new sandpaper flap to really polish it out. So this is pretty much what I should have done the first time I ported this. You really, I mean, opening up the inlet and then the outlet as well are pretty good, but doing this extra step, cleaning it thoroughly and stuff, that's really what is going to make it really good. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with this. It's all pretty loud on camera, so I'll just show you the results once I'm done. This is just pretty simple, just a couple general guidelines or things to consider is wall thickness, and you don't want to remove too much material. Same with like cylinder heads. Just want to be mindful of any type of clearances. You don't want to take too much material out. So I'm going to continue with this and show you once I have some more progress. Alright guys, it might not look like much, but it is a lot cleaner after using the metal wire brush. I'm going to go ahead and start sanding. I actually sanded that portion right there. I mean, you can pretty much see it right there. It's really smooth after that. It's just really good to get all that old gunk out of there. It's from the EGR system. Putting exhaust fumes back in. I don't think there's any type of PCV where it reroutes crankcase ventilation into it, but it could be. I don't know tons about this motor, but so I'm going to continue sanding it. I'm just going to be using this sanding wheel, going in and smoothing up everything I can. This is pretty stubby. I actually don't have the right fittings for this long one. This long one's a bit easier, and I could reach a lot of more stuff inside there, but I'm just going to use what I have, and this should be good enough. And once I'm done sanding it, I'm going to clean it very thoroughly and make sure everything is good to go with it. Alright guys, I'm pretty much done with what I wanted to do today. I got that lip pretty much all cleaned up. I might go back and do this. I don't know if I really need to, so guys, let me know in the comments if you think I should port that part, or at least polish and clean up the casting, because the casting is really bad right there. So got that all cleaned up some more spaces in here on the outlet, so that should be better. Then I also got this side done. It might be pretty hard to pick up on camera, but it's really smooth now. I removed a lot of the hard casting marks and cleaned up all the oil and residue that was built up on there. It actually was so much it was restricting the diameter in here, and it's just not great for airflow. So when I'm cleaning that up, I'm going to go ahead and clean the surfaces here for the mating parts, and then should be good. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rotors back in where they're over there, and get this back together. Alright guys, for what I'm going to do today, I am pretty much done. I got everything cleaned up, smoothed out, should be much cleaner and just flow better for Project F. Cleaned up everything the best I could. Nothing got into where the bearings are. Everything spins fine, you don't even hear, it's just spins so smooth. We do need to add some new oil to it. We have that just over there somewhere, but we're not going to put that in until we're completely ready to go. There might be some modification, like I said, we need to do. On the manifold side, we do actually need to plug up these two coolant passages. So most people actually just get some epoxy and put a dime in there, or they thread it and put a bolt in and epoxy it. We might thread it and put a bolt in it. That seems like the best way of doing that. And then the top side of the supercharger should be ready to go. I got Tristan to buy the new ARP bolts for the flywheel for Project F. Once we have that, as well as the slave cylinder, we can actually get this the transmission in, and then finally go ahead and test fit everything in there. I'm hoping that we're able to get the supercharger in without any modification to the casing, but it's looking like this is going to be a unavoidable situation. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna have to cut it, but if we can make it work, we will. I do have a new tool here, actually. This guy right here is a nibbler. I guess that's what they call it. Basically what it does is it attaches to a drill, and you're actually able to nibble out sheet metal up to, I think, like 2 mils. And with that, we could potentially cut the firewall. We're also going to be using that for the fuel door. Instead of having to take an angle grinder inside and cut a hole for the fuel door, we can have this, and much safer. So guys, let me know what you think. I know most people are going to say we're going to have to cut it, but we're just going to see how it goes. We're going to test fit the engine. I mean, pretty much the next Project F video we're going to be putting the transmission on, probably the exhaust, and then test fitting it. So that'll be really exciting. We're looking at some better weather. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe, comment down below, pick up a sticker, $3.50, and I'll send one to you. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.